Walter, we're not going to cover up that pretty face of yours with a microphone. When the Facebook viewers
I liked it better this way, you know.
Josh moved it away, and Walter moved it right back.
There you go.
Our Facebook listeners they get you whoever you are over there. So it's good to have you in the studio with us. Our conversation with Walter Schroth, brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Walter Schroth is the president of the Indiana Area School District School Board, and he announced his candidacy again last week. And I would assume with the number of people that are running this year that after I have you on today that I'll be getting calls and emails.
I would assume so, Todd. You could have a very full schedule over the next week or so.
Well, that's okay.
There are 13 of us that have decided to serve the community or would like to serve the community as a school board director, and I certainly would applaud all of the candidates for their willingness to step up and help make Indiana a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are all welcome here on Indiana in the Morning. If somebody wants to come on and tell us what they would like to do as a member of the school board, that's certainly available to them. You have been on the school board for many years, and in different runs, if you will, or different segments. Tell me about your experience on the school board. How many years?
We've been on for, we'll be completing our 16th year at the end of this year, Todd. So if I'm fortunate enough for the voters to select me for another term, that'll be a total of 20 at the end of this upcoming term. I was first elected to the board in 2005 in the aftermath of the debacle that occurred at the junior high renovation. Mm-hmm. I got on to make a difference, and I believe that we've, particularly with Mike Vukovic as our superintendent, we've been able to make some real impacts on the district and provide some programming for our students that we've never been able to offer before.
Challenges for school board members in Indiana area in particular are well documented. There's the elementary school alignment issue that has been over the years something that has been a point of debate and contention. That has been certainly a part of what's going on. The challenge of the Eisenhower renovations after the fire, a current challenge for the school board. For you, what are the things that stand out as issues that the new board, the current board and the upcoming new board will have to tackle in the next 3 or 4 years?
Well, first of all, let me talk a little bit about the Eisenhower and the elementary grade configuration, Todd. Mm-hmm. When we took the approach to, after the fire, that we needed to first design or choose the academic programming that would best fit the needs of the community and of our students. And then we let that drive the design of the rebuild of Eisenhower. And that's not always done that way. A lot of times the building is built and then the program is fitted into that particular structure, when it really needs to be the other way around. You design the academic programming first, and then you provide the facilities to meet that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Obviously, to go to your question, completing the reconstruction and renovation of Eisenhower is kind of our top priority as far as our buildings and grounds goes, and that's one that we're going to be spending a lot of time on over the next several months. There are a number of other issues that we have to take a look at. COVID has had effects on our society that are sometimes unquantifiable, and we see that manifested in some of the mental health issues as well as some of the academic issues. We've got a pretty good handle on the academics. We've got a summer camp for our elementary kids, some increased summer school for our secondary students, and we're pretty well positioned to deal with some of the mental health issues that we're seeing. We've got a number of psychologists that we have on the district staff, plus some support from IUP. But one of the things that's coming up that is a real sleeper here is this whole idea of AI, artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The technology is driving faster, I think, than a lot of organizations, including school districts, can keep up with. There's a program out there now that will write a 500-word essay, including citations, in any style about just about any subject you want. So it's a tool, but it's also challenging when the teacher gives it an assignment to write a 500-word essay. Was it written by AI or was it actually written by the student?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some things like that we're going to really have to deal with.
Yeah, they are really vexing type issues too, because they sort of redesign how school is taught and what the concept of home assignments are. Because how do you do a home assignment when there's no way to monitor who did this?
And so the key to this, I think, is to figure out how to use that AI, not necessarily fight it, but use it to the advantage of the education of the student itself. We liken it to some extent when you used a slide rule back in my day when you did your math test or your physics test, okay, or chemistry. You're always doing logarithms and that sort of thing. And then they introduced the Texas Instrument pocket calculator.
Yep.
Okay.
I remember the day.
And nobody wanted that because it wasn't, it was cheating. Well, now our kids are issued computers that, particularly at the secondary level, they take with them every day. So this is just, I think, an evolution, but it's still something that we're going to have to deal with to ensure the integrity of the education that we provide.
It's interesting the way you put that, because I frequently have Indiana junior high and senior high students in here, and very often I ask them, what's your favorite subject? And they'll blurt it out, math, which means that Indiana High is doing something right in terms of teaching math. Elementary schools as well. Math is what we really enjoy. Science, those types of courses, even though there are new challenges out there in each of those study courses, it seems like the kids are really still embracing the fact that I have to know this stuff and I want to know this stuff, which means that they're being taught in the correct way, I think, anyway.
And I think you're absolutely right about that, Todd, but it has an even bigger implication, and that's in workforce development. It is no longer enough that the education system, that our elementary and our secondary programs are standalone education programs. They also have to prepare our students for the high-tech world of the 21st century and the workforce development that is necessary if we're going to keep those young people here in this community. Mm-hmm. And the district and the Chamber of Commerce and some other folks have been working very hard in business education partnerships, trying to figure out how to provide that kind of curriculum to our students to prepare them for the job market that they will all eventually face when they leave our system.
Walter Schroth, our guest, he is the president of the Indiana Area School Board. The role of a school board member and a school board president is to not only monitor what's going on, make decisions regarding how a school district operates, but to put in place those professional educators who are going to guide that vision. You certainly had a good one in Mike Vukovic these last several years. He is moving on, and the new superintendent will eventually be chosen to take his place. What do you look for in an administration, and in particular for that role?
Todd, Mike Vukovic was an absolute dynamo, both in his energy and his creativity and developing programs. He brought science of reading to the district. We're dealing with some of the social emotional learning issues, the mental health as I mentioned before. He's also introduced, or actually not introduced, but expanded college in the classroom with the goal of allowing our students to earn a associate degree with their high school diploma. The greatest legacy that he could leave us is that it's his legacy and the programming and the good things that he started here. We need to continue that. And so I think what we need to do as we try to find his permanent replacement is to find somebody that will continue that same vein, that will continue those same programs that have been so successful. But, he was only here for 5 years. I really wish he could have been here for another 5, and then a lot of the things that he would have started would have been ingrained in the culture and in our community. Mm-hmm. Rob Heinrich helped him build that program, and for the interim period till the board actually selects a permanent, I'm quite certain that he will continue that same vein of the work that he and Mike put together there.
Other goals you might have for Indiana Area School Board and for the district as a whole? One
of the things that we've have to be cognizant of, 48% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. And that, again, the school district is a reflection of the community as a whole. The concern that I have is that we have to be able to provide that education and still do so at a reasonable tax consideration of the taxpayers. We've avoided raising taxes for the last 6 years. It looks like we probably can get at least one more year without raising the taxes, but that is something that we've got to be able to do, is provide that quality education at a price they can afford. Now, as you well know, the recent court hearing potentially could upend this. Mm-hmm. My admonition to the governor and to our state legislature is to take a comprehensive look at this and develop a system that doesn't take from school districts like Indiana to give to some of the less fortunate ones, because then the burden relies or falls to our taxpayers to make up that difference. And I don't know, with that many students on free and reduced lunch, we really can afford that.
Yeah. All right, so the election season is almost upon us, and you are one of, as you said, 13.
That's right.
Folks running here in Indiana area, and other school boards all across the region will be going through those same sorts of reconfigurations. It's a part of the whole democratic process that we enjoy.
It is part of the democratic process, Todd, absolutely.
Walter, thanks so much for coming in to visit. We appreciate it.
It was a pleasure being here, Todd, as always. I always enjoy our conversations.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.